Hey, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Shanae, and today I don't have a recipe for you, but I wanted to talk to you about macarons. It's a hot topic around here, and I get asked so many questions about macarons to share tips and tricks for beginners, and I thought I'll dedicate a video for it and specifically share 10 tips for beginner bakers. If you're planning to bake your first batch of macarons, or you have tried it and they didn't come out as expected, this video is for you. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, get a scale. I know you probably bake with volume measurements and you're not used to scales, but if you are serious about baking perfect macarons, get a scale because precision is key for making macarons. A lot of people get mad at me for sharing only weight measurements for macarons from my macaron recipes, but it's with an intention because I don't want you to have additional risk of failed macarons due to improperly measured ingredients. It's really important to measure almond flour, powdered sugar, all the sugars by weight, and even egg whites, you want to weigh them out for precision. It will eliminate one chance to spoil your macarons. The next one is get an oven thermometer. Every oven works differently and you wouldn't know until you get an oven thermometer to see how your oven heats up. It's very normal for ovens to fluctuate between up to 50 degrees, and that's huge. And most ovens probably fluctuate between 10 to 15 degrees up and down, so you wouldn't know until you have oven thermometer. Some people I've seen have 3 oven thermometers in different spots because they have hot spots and whatnot. I'm lucky, I've never had that problem with hot spots, so I only have 1 thermometer, and that helps me to know exactly what temperature my oven heat up. And number 3, there are 3 different methods of making macarons. Basically, it depends on what type of meringue you're using. Italian, Swiss, and French methods. Decide on that. You can try each of them and decide which one you like best. And just so you know, like Italian method is when you cook syrup and add it to the egg whites to make Italian meringue. Swiss method is with double boiler. You cook the egg whites with sugar over the double boiler and then whip it into meringue. French method, which is my favorite method, is simply whipping the egg whites with sugar and get meringue. French meringue is the least stable meringue, but I do have tips achieving most stable French meringue. If you want to watch it my video. My 4th tip, meringue quality is very important. And if you would like to go with French method, definitely watch my video on that. It will explain to you all the tips how to achieve the stable meringue. I personally like French method. I've tried Italian method. It's a little too sweet for me and a little too cumbersome to bake on daily basis for me. Not daily basis, frequently. And so Italian method is not my go-to, but it does produce really good quality, consistent results. Swiss method, a lot of people swear by it. I've never tried it before, personally, because I don't like double boilers. That's cumbersome to me. Again, if I had to bake macarons on consistent basis, like if I had clientele or whatnot, I would probably go with Italian method, but French method for me works out perfectly. So the tip number 4, perfect your meringue skills. Make sure you have really good meringue base in order to make perfect macarons. And tip number 5, this is the most important tip I think for beginner macaron bakers. It's start with the plain, basic macarons. I know it's very tempting to make this beautiful, colorful, pastel-colored macarons. They're so tempting, but for beginners specifically, start with plain macarons. No food coloring, no extracts, no cocoa powder, no additional ingredients, because all those additional things adds a curveball to your macaron skills. You know, you're trying to perfect your macaronage skills and trying to figure out your oven and whatnot, and those additional curveballs are not helpful at all. Number 6, a lot of people worked up about whether they should choose parchment paper or silicone mat. My advice is, doesn't matter. I've seen a lot of people have great success with parchment paper, great success with different types of silicone mats. It's not that big factor, but if you figure out silicone mat works better in your oven, use that. If you want to try with parchment paper, use that. I use both of them. I even use Teflon mats. So, you know, it's up to you. It's not a big game changer. Number 7, it's probably not a bad recipe that you're choosing. Most recipes are pretty standard. They use almond flour, sugar, powdered sugar, egg whites. They're very basic, a little bit fluctuation between the sugar amounts, but for the most part, all the recipes are basic, simple, standard. The most important thing is all about technique. So instead of blaming the recipe, work on your technique. And that leads me to my next tip, number 8. Stick to one recipe only because you don't want to jump from one recipe to another. You won't figure out what's the problem. It might be your macaronage, or it might be your oven. So instead of jumping from recipe to recipe, stick to one recipe from reliable source. Between you and I, my recipe is pretty reliable. I've posted this recipe back in 2013, and I have hundreds of reviews from readers. So my recipe is pretty reliable, but you don't have to go with my recipe. If you want to try Italian meringue recipe, do that. Sismussen, do that. But stick to one recipe and perfect and master the technique first. Number 9, be nice to the blogger who shared the recipe with you or someone who shared the recipe with you, because if you just blame them or their recipe and just rate them 0, whatever, it's not helpful. It's not productive. Be nice. Instead, just reach out to them, tell them what exactly happened, tell them that you followed their recipe or my recipe, whatever, and explain what happened. Like, I got wrinkly macarons, or I didn't have feet. What happened? If you provide all the details like that, I am, or other bloggers, more than willing to troubleshoot the issue with you, because it's most of the time it's about the oven temperature or the climate and everything like that. So personally, I try to be helpful and troubleshoot the issues with you. I've had a lot of people reach out to me through Instagram, for example, and we troubleshoot together and everything. I will have them to send me pictures of the process shots and everything, and we would figure out the issue. I've had so many incidents, but if you just come on and tell me like how horrible recipe it is, it just failed, and that's it, like there's nothing to work on. So instead of blaming the recipe, be nice, reach out, troubleshoot together. Last but not least, 10th tip is don't give up. Your first macarons might not turn out as expected, but don't worry. If you stick to it and you work on changing one thing at a time, you will figure it out. From second, third time, I'm sure you will see improvements. So don't give up, keep at it. And if you need to, reach out to troubleshoot, and I'm more than willing to help you. By the way, I'm working on macaron fillings handbook right now, and once you perfect your perfect macaron shells, I know you would want to expand to different flavored versions, and this handbook will be so helpful for you to create different flavored fillings. And as you know, I don't provide just recipes. I explain the whys behind the technique, and you will be able to create your very own flavors beyond what's in the book, and you will be able to create your very own combinations based on the theories you will learn from this book. So I'm really excited about this project. If you would like to be one of the first ones to know once it's available, make sure to sign up to my email list. I will link the URL in the description below. And in the meantime, once you sign up to my email list, you will receive my macaron custom templates for free. I have round macarons, pumpkin macarons, and heart-shaped macaron templates for you, waiting for you in the email. Once you sign up, you will get it for free. So I hope you will find it helpful, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any takeaways or if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.